Hello and welcome to Enterprise Morning on Enterprise Television. I am Kende Bodone.
And I am Henry Igwebike.
Thank you for joining us as we bring you key stories shaping Nigeria today. We'll begin with a brief review of the newspaper headlines and then move into our main discussion for the day. You can join the conversation by liking, following us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. You can as well share. Thank you. So joining us this morning is Barrister Evans Ufeli. He is a barrister and also a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much for joining today, sir.
Good morning to you, Barrister, and
good morning.
welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, so Barrister joins us from Ontario in Canada, and let's get talking on some of the most important stories making the headlines from our newspapers. We have 4 newspapers for the go today: the Guardian newspaper, the Punch newspaper, the Daily Trust newspaper, and which one again? The Vanguard.
The Vanguard newspaper.
Beautiful. So let's start with the Guardian newspaper. Big story: uncertainty trails the future of share nuts export as 6-month ban ends.
Okay, on the top strip we have CDS. We can achieve intel stability via controlled rehabilitation, right, of terrorists.
All right, so we have Uni Abuja expels 28 students, revokes a certificate of 15 alumni.
Wow. Okay, we have soldiers from Boko Haram attacks, kill 29 in Borno, Yobe.
And also on the top strip, anxiety as 25 oil blocks expire amid new executive order.
Okay, we also have low turnout, electoral reform backlash shadow, APC's FCT sweep.
But let's get to our talking point for today. Did you take the story on NAFDAC?
No.
NAFDAC seizes banned fake cosmetics worth 3 billion naira in Lagos. That's a big catch, if you ask me. But let's get to the talking point for today. CDS, we can achieve intel stability via controlled rehabilitation of terrorists. Barrister, there we go again. They are calling it controlled rehabilitation. Every time these people keep coming up with new semantics on how to maybe justify the radicalization of terrorists in Nigeria. What's your take on this, please?
I don't think it's an effective program. The de-radicalization program have not been in any way effective, given that when people are called terrorists, they come under certain level of fundamentalism and extremism. And so it's quite very difficult to ascertain that you can actually bring them to repentance in their quantity and then inform the public that these persons are now safe to undertake normal civic duties like regular members of the public. It's tough, okay, more so because not a lot go into the program, and also because the catch on where the spark started from is as a result of deprivation. Largely so, it's poverty that breeds insecurity. That is actually the remote cause. The immediate cause could be maybe politics, and then other economic issues. Economic issues like mineral resources, cattle rearing, and all that. Economic issues surrounds it as the immediate causes. But the remote cause is poverty. The remote cause, because those people who are carrying arms and ammunition, terrorizing the state and the society, are persons who haven't been to the 4 walls of schools. Because if a child has been raised from primary to secondary to university or tertiary institutional level, it will be hard for you to convince the person to take explosives or to take guns and go and kill other people. It will be hard. It will be very hard. Though you may even have people who are like that, who are also educated up to that level and still be have terroristic tendencies and fundamentalist ideologies. You can still have it, but it's rare. But the breeding ground for this is that it's tied to deprivation. So let's look at the de-radicalization. The de-radicalization you're talking about, has it taken care of their welfare at home? Has it taken them away from the street? Has it taken them through an educational process that exfoliates or eviscerates them from fundamentalism and fanaticism and the extremism that come with it? So those questions need to be answered in the affirmative before you can say that truly a man has repented. What Shakespeare, they say there's no construction in the face that shows the heart of a man. Okay? So what are the indices? What is the survey? What is the program about? How does the program certify that someone has been de-radicalized and then is now fit for proper societal function? So I think this thing is just to free them from problems, just send them back to society. They go and regroup themselves and keep attacking society and people. That's what I think. There's nothing. The radicalization is not. It's not when they did that of the Niger death at the militants, it was clear. This person who wanted development, both personal and communal. Okay, the federal government stepped in. Okay, for those who want to go to school, come this way. Those who want money to start business, come this way. Those who want to do this, they all assembled themselves by their respective choices, and the federal government took care of it, and they became rehabilitated. The insurgents now, what do they want? What do they want? Really, if you ask them truly, say the Boko Haram side of it say that Western education is evil. There are other subgroups that have other. So there are many of the groups that have no demands. They just want to kill, maim, rape, and destroy. Because they are agents of Satan, agents of the devil. So the devil does not really have a demand. What he wants to do is to exterminate. And that's how many of them are. So I don't believe in that radicalization program. I don't think it's anything. I don't think it's even anything to go by.
Well, the CDS is actually claiming that the controlled de-radicalization is meant for intel, basically get them to their side and make them moles in the Boko Haram or insurgent groups that they belong to, and possibly feed them with information that would lead to the capture of their colleagues and all. And that's what the CDS is saying here. We do not know if this in any way would be possible, going by what...
Are they serious? Are they serious? Are they serious with that? And they are coming out to the press to say it?
Okay, so they should have kept it to themselves.
Yeah, you are telling the people that you want to use others to get. You are telling them in the press that this is what you are doing, what you want to do.
But then again,
so how effective is that?
Okay, but then again, Barrister, does the Constitution permit rehabilitation of surrendered terrorists?
Well, the essence of correctional centers and prison is to reform the citizen or the convict also.
Okay.
So if you want to have any kind of program, take them through trial first. Take them through trials. The ones that are found guilty of the act should be convicted properly and sentenced. Okay?
Yeah.
Then you can now mobilize to the prison. Okay?
Yeah.
You can now mobilize into the prison. And in the prison, you cannot carry out this exercise. Because the prison already will confine them to a certain kind of lifestyle. Put them under pressure, take away their liberty, take away their right to free movement and the rest of that. So they come under scrutiny. Then you can introduce the program in the prison. Just like you have open university in the prison, you have tailoring, you have mechanic, you have all those technical trades, you have them in the prison. So you operate it from the prison authority. That's how it should be done. Not this thing they are doing. This one they are doing is politics. This one is politics. It doesn't represent how you get people radicalized. It's about the mind. It's about the mind. You don't only do haphazard and just conclude that they are now okay. Okay, now we want to send them. You guys can go back to your different groups and go and give us information on how to get them. They will go and tell their groups what you just sent them to command.
Well, it's very, very sad, really, because every other day we lose soldiers, we lose police personnel. Every other day, not to talk of Nigerian innocent civilians who die as a result of being caught in the crossfire. It's actually so sad. But let's run to economy right now, Barrister. The economic theory of protectionism helps safeguard a nation from infiltration of cheap and substandard goods, and which was practiced before Babangida allowed for structural adjustment program, which allowed for influx of cheaper goods, and that led to most of the more moribund factories and industries we have in Nigeria. This story actually connects to this. Nigeria loses $6 billion yearly to cargo diversion over high airport charges. Now, the aviation sector is saying that if they allow for this quick influx of goods in Nigeria, it might affect locally produced goods. So how do we pander to this and possibly help that make Nigeria a better place economically?
You see, the problem to production in Nigeria is electricity. The answer is electricity. Before you put high tariff on goods, for meat coming to the country because you want to encourage local production, you first of all ask yourself, the first question you ask yourself is that, how well is local production? Does local production meet standard? Does it meet quality? Can it compete universally? Okay, and ultimately, what is the production cost and what is the actual market value and cost of it? So if you don't do cost-benefit analysis of products made here, and then you just say, okay, just because we want them to patronize the one made here, therefore we'll put high tariff, we'll make some contraband, and you'll be wasting your time, because what people will do is they'll look for a way to smuggle in that one into the country. As long as the one you have within is not of standard, or it's of standard and it's too expensive, okay, or it's of standard, it is expensive, and it is difficult to get by. Okay, so people will look for a way to bring it in illegally. So what do you do in that case? To revive production, you need to have electricity, 24 hours power supply. And you also have to subsidize the cost of power to enable the industries produce at maximum cost so that they can make a profit margin that will keep them in business. So if the companies don't have electricity and they are producing and they have to put the fast cost inflation on goods, and at the same time you want high patronage on goods that are probably out of reach, the ones produced abroad are even cheaper many times. The ones produced abroad are even cheaper many times, because the cost of producing it and the cost of bringing it in is not even comparable to the cost of producing it here. So I don't think this approach is the right approach. Why is it that the APC government does not say anything about electricity? How does it intend to make a mark in the Nigerian economy without electricity? This president, when he was campaigning, he said if he gets in, he's going to make power supply constant. That if it's not constant, they should not vote him again. That was the first and last time he made mention of electricity. Since he got into power for about 3 years and going to the 4th year, he has never made mention of electricity. So how is it going to make a mark in how is it going to become whatever it is? His ambition. They say it's a political strategist. So he has never, and he's campaigning for second term. So if you don't get electricity right, industrialization is not what you discuss. You can't discuss it. You start with power supply. You start with power supply. Power supply affects everything, both education, the economy, medicals, businesses, small and medium scale businesses. The reason why small and medium scale businesses are dying in Nigeria is because of electricity.
Very well.
Many businesses cannot cope up with the level of diesel, fueling, staff, put everything together. It's choking.
Very, very true, Barrister. You know, just to share a testimonial to buttress what you have just said, there's a viral video yesterday of there's this community called Eche in River State. For 20 years, they've not seen electricity. Now, Aba Power supplied them electricity last week, and guess what? Sachet water that used to be sold 700 naira a bag, just because of power was supplied to them in 20 years. The first time in 20 years, sachet water a bag dropped to 500 naira. Just in less than 3 days. So you can see how important this is, and why we should really, you know, be serious about it. You know, some people have thought that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, if he had not done anything in 3 years, maybe he should have focused on electricity, and that would improve the lives of people.
I mean, it should even give the government concern about.
And we have a river state, actually, a river state with lots of, you know, lots of everything going for them, far richer than Abia State. But Alex Oti supplied the community in River State with electricity. So you can see how leadership is part of the problems that we have. So which other story do we have?
Okay, we've taken the Guardian, and we should just look at the Punch.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So NNPC, NU, that's the big story there. NNPC, NUPRC fear financial squeeze after Tinubu's order.
Yes, so a rider to that particular story is tension soars as executive order disrupt all revenue flows. Pengerson, NNPC, new NUPRC officials foresee funding crisis. Barrister, would we say President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had it going on right now, knowing that he's squeezing the living hell out of NNPC right now? He forgave them about 5 trillion naira worth of debt that they have with so many other billions and millions of naira. Now he is holding them, you know, by the jugular at this point. Do you think that's a good one from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, at least?
It's a good one. He has such considerable experience in the oil and gas industry, having worked as an accountant in Mopi. Okay, so the way the NNPC operates, the NNPC operates with a lot of secrecy. Yes, you can never get data, you can't get figures, you can't know control and operations of NNPC because of the corruption and the hash there, you know. So the unbundling that he's doing now is going to reveal a lot of secrets because so many persons have come under fire by this policy. And so we should keep at it and ensure that that houses is sanitized. At least let there be one thing that people say is able to pull through and get it sanitized so that the resources that's supposed to come to the nation's coffer that is being, you know, embezzled and mismanaged from that angle of the economy can be revived, okay, and restored. That is just part of the many issues that needed to be addressed by this government. But we've not seen much. We've not seen much.
And disrupts oil revenue flow.
I didn't get the question.
No, I said with all of this now, will this actually disrupt oil revenue flow?
Disrupts?
Yes, with that disrupts oil revenue flow.
Well, in a way, it will influence outcomes because what policy does is that it disrupts the status quo and then it shakes up the system to the point where it influences outcomes. So outcomes definitely will be disrupted, and either positively or negatively, but somehow also well. It is a policy on transparency, a policy on accountability, which is good. Okay. So there's no way policy on accountability or transparency will not disrupt process. Okay, and there's no way we will not find or discover certain things, whether right or wrong, that's ongoing in the process. So it's a good one. There's a need to do more in that direction in other sectors like the MPA. Okay, not just the APC, the MPA, and other sectors, other service sectors, even the aviation sector. Okay, there's a need to do something about these institutions. Let there be a hurricane that will run through these institutions, because these are the institutions that generate resources for the country. Okay, there's a need to have policy redirection. Okay, to revamp and revive this sector so that outcomes can be different and so that discoveries can be made, challenges can be properly seen, and solutions profiled accordingly.
All right, so let's quickly, just before we wind down for this particular segment, we have a picture of Bosun Tijani, and we have a story linked to him. 2027 real-time results transmission achievable, says telcos, and little wonder you have his picture there. Barrister, you know Bosun Tijani too well. Before now, he was a strong critic of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He is a techie himself, so he understands everything about how technology works and if it's ever possible to have e-transmission of results. This is one young man that knows too well. Why then is it difficult for him to convince President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his crew why this is important at a time like this, knowing that he is himself a tech head?
Well, when politics is mixed with anything, you get a dirty solution. And when you mix politics and religion, mix politics and the truth, mix politics with what your profession, what you know, you get dirty solution. But you'll not be able, especially when the brand of politics is one that's anchored on cheating. You understand? You will get very dirty solution. That's really what is going on. Not like people don't know the right thing to do. Okay, look at the amendment now. Now we have. But now we don't have anything like the 2022 Electoral Act any longer. So that has been repealed. So we now have the 2026 Electoral Act. And the Act have now said that electronic transmission is what should be done. But there's a proviso there that where there is network failure, network whatever, they will have to rely on, which is a more bigger problem per time. Because on the day of election, people are going to complain that there's bad network. And the courts will not come there when they say there's bad network to inspect before matters are filed in the court for the court to now determine them. So how will the courts evaluate whether so I'm just putting that by the wayside. Okay. It is lack of sincerity, lack of doing things on the merit, lack of accountability and transparency is the reason we are battling with having a system that can establish the truth. What is really dead? South Africans use this electronic transmission system. Many countries in Africa use it. You can sit down from a point and watch, the votes as they are cast. This is just transmission we're talking about, and we have this level of what they call a dispute. If we were talking about electronic voting, what would have happened? We would have plugged down the heavens or what? The fear that this thing will go the wrong way is so imminent in our politicians, especially the ones that are not performing, the ones that stole their way through victory. And so they don't want to hear anything that will say, okay, let everybody start at zero level. Because they know that their lack of performance will not, people will not vote them in. New faces will emerge. Completely different set of politicians will emerge if merit is allowed. So even when the president signed it, the reason he signed it is just to almost like proving that he's popular, he can sign anything and still win the election. That's what they just did it to make sure to let people feel that yes, I have signed it and it will go. But you see, what was signed is the issue. What was signed is open-ended. It's open-ended. You were talking about electronic transmission. That transmitting electronically will lead to stability, transparency, and accountability. That's what we're hearing for. All of a sudden, you now say, okay. Before now, you don't agree. You say, no, there's no network in some part of the country. There's this, there's that, and therefore you are not going to pass. Then there was uprising. The people came out to protest. There were criticism on TV, on the street for protesting, and then they called for emergency hearing. They started in that emergency hearing and now came up with the fact that, okay, electronic transmission is hereby passed. But once there is no network or there is bad network, they will rely on the manual. You just need that window of mischief, that window from where they will have human interference. They needed that window where you have human the backdoor policy of corruption that has held this country down for many years. Lawmakers are not interested in the future of this country. The executive, either they are not interested. And so it's just the citizens, the masses, that are the mercy of these leaders.
Well, it's all hypocrisy, if you ask me. Hypocrisy on the part of our leaders, not desiring to be responsible to some extent, and not holding themselves accountable to some of the things that we're talking about. Namibia is an African country. It allows for e-transmission. Estonia, these are European countries that are really not as great as other European countries, economically, but these people allow for e-transmission, not even e-transmission, e-voting. So it's just like, you're transferring money to someone, right? So on the spot there, you vote and it gets counted. And little wonder we are not doing that. Well, let's see how that goes. 2027 is right by the corner, and we hope that things will get better. But when we return, we'll be taking a look at what we have been talking about e-transmission in microcosm with Abuja as the starting point. That is when we return. Barrister will be here to take us on that. That is, APC takes early lead in FCT council polls amid vote buying allegations. In a beat Enterprise Morning, it is. Don't go anywhere. Thank you so very much for being back. And if you just joined us, Enterprise Morning, it is reaching you from our corporate headquarters in Lagos State in Nigeria. Let's get to our conversation for today, where we have it that the All Progressives Congress APC took an early lead in the Federal Capital Territory FCT area council elections held on Saturday, based on results uploaded to the Independent National Electoral Commission results viewing portal, that is the IREV. As of 10:15 p.m., the All Progressives Congress had secured 2,726 votes in Kwali Area Council, ahead of the People's Democratic Party with 2,104 votes, while the African Democratic Congress, that is the ADC, recorded only 180 votes. In Kuje Area Council, APC also led with 615 votes, followed by PDP with 393 votes.
Very true. Other parties trailed behind, including ABGAG with 146 votes, ADC with 24 votes, and NNPP with 5 votes. In Abuja Municipal Area Council, AMAC, APC recorded 2,520 votes, ADC recorded 750 votes, and PDP recorded 115 votes. However, in Gwagwalada, PDP led with 2,019 votes, ahead of APC's 1,779 votes, and ADC's 115 votes. Now, the election conducted to fill 6 chairmanship and 62 councillorship positions witnessed widespread voter apathy across several councils, including AMAC, right? AMAC, Buari, Kuje, Abaji, and Kwali.
Let's get talking. Barrister Vance is still here with us. Thank you so very much, Barrister, for hanging on.
Very well.
All right. So the elections that just held sway in Abuja was more like a litmus test, a Mopiton at the center of it all, to test if really all that went down with the Electoral Amendment Act and so many other things that would come with it would work with Abuja as a test. What would you say is the pass mark that should be given to Mopiton and INEC? And what's your take on the Electoral Amendment Act? Did it really work using Abuja as a litmus test?
Well, there was electronic transmission, okay, which the law simplifies. There was electronic transmission, so to that extent, to a particular level, to a particular degree, we have not seen the result in terms of the percentage, the analytics, okay, because it's actually too early to get the analytics in terms of the usage of the IRF, how many percent, happened, okay. Before the end of the week, that will be out. One thing that Amipito cannot cure is the issue of vote buy, which stood out. So even though you are electronically transmitting, what is the quality of result that you are electronically transmitting? How did you procure the result? There was vote buying between 10,000 naira to 3,000 naira. People were selling their vote massively. Okay. First of all, there was voter apathy. There was voter apathy. I'm not sure it was up to 18% that came out to vote. It's not up to 18%. So there was voter apathy. And this voter apathy stems from disenchantment. People are tired of the kind of disenchantment. People are angry. Some persons have given up on the system. Some persons don't just care. Okay. Some persons just went to bed, used that day to sleep, and all that. So, not bothered. Then the politicians went to work. They raised money and they were purchasing the vote. Vote buying is rigging. You are rigging the system. You are rigging the result. That's what it is. There were irregularities. So it's not actually different from the elections we had under the 2022 Electoral Act. This particular act is it's not up to a month old. It's like 3 weeks or 2 weeks old, this new act. The Electoral Act 2026 is a very young law that has been stained the day it was passed. It has been stained with iniquity just 2 weeks after its passage. The first test the law was put to, it failed it. It failed. That's because the EFCC arrested some persons for what they tag as electoral fraud.
All right, I think we lost the barrister right there. I just sincerely hope that he would make back and we would discuss this and more, because it's very important at a time like this, knowing that the Electoral Amendment Act has been passed, and we would hope that we would begin to see new life, in what we have allowed be, especially assigned by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But unfortunately, you can see the test itself from Abuja is not working. It's not working. Nigerians are actually not happy. Nigerians don't want to be concerned any longer.
Well, it was a very good one that they had to test it so that we would know what we'll be expecting for the next
for 2027
elections, right? But then I would really love Barrister to even explain more on the particular question I have here, which has to do with the voter empathy. Yes. So maybe when it comes on.
Yeah. So we don't. Is Barrister back? Just.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yes. Yeah. All right. So you can finish up on your thoughts.
Yes. I think the Electoral Act was put to test. As young as that act is, the amended version, I'm failing completely. I've said this before. Now, how can we amend our law to ensure that we call vote buying?
But Barrister, sorry to interject there. Do you think it's realistic for us to curb vote buying if it happens in the closet? There's little INEC can do. EFCC can only get hold of people who are doing the transaction physically and they can see them. How about those that happen without either the INEC or the EFCC knowing about it? How can that be controlled realistically?
That's what I'm saying. I'm not blaming INEC. I say one thing they cannot control is vote buying, which stems from human greed, human malfeasance, wickedness to self, and self-inflicted malady. You know, people are so corrupt to the point where they are so cheap that they need just 10,000 naira, to sell their future away. In a country where people give birth to children and sell them, what will it cost to collect money and vote? It's like when Olarotimi says that when crocodiles eat its own egg, what will it do with the flesh of frogs? So it's people. There's a level of discipline that the Nigerian society requires. The level of restraint that even though I am poor, I have dignity, I will stand by my dignity. There's a need to instill that. There's a need for people to come alive to a certain level of responsibilities. And that's what we call vote buying. Because I don't think it's just poverty that's responsible. I think it's also a sense of lack of self-worth, lack of human dignity, lack of so many things, and absolutely psychological problems, psychological dysfunctions. Because 10,000 naira will not take you nowhere. In fact, after collecting 10,000 naira, you are even poorer because you will be confused as to how you can use 10,000 to solve your problem. It's better not to have any money at all. But some people, it is for them blessings and then for them. So it's difficult. So that goes to the individual conscience of a nation, the aggregate of the conscience of a nation, the people in that country. Because even if they don't do the transaction on that, there are some of them that they credited their account with the money in the morning before they went to the polls. And if the person is voting, are you going to ask them that this person you voted for, did you vote for him because he gave you money? Are you going to ask, how many persons are you going to ask? So that is how, look at how the APC took the lead.
Yeah.
Even when ADC, when they started the election, ADC was doing so well. All of a sudden, it just turned around. And then Wiki was going about the place, interrupting the process. And I'm glad that ADC have rejected the results to say that so many human elements, the likes of Wiki and PDP officials, APC officials, disrupted the process. But that is not to say other party officials didn't also go to seek for how to buy votes and influence the outcome. You see, all those are criminal activities. And that is why you will call on the EFCC to start arresting people like Wiki first.
But we know it's not possible. But it's at the time.
No, why is it not possible? But disrupting the process disrupting the process and offense under the law. Interference is an offense under the law. INEC is charged with the responsibilities. to organize the process. Anyone who comes to give any directive and give any order is committing an offense. Okay, and so yes, you should look at it from that point, not just voter fraud only. If they want to enforce law, then we enforce it generally on everybody and not make selective process or what they are doing.
Okay, so what explains the widespread voter apathy across councils?
Well, I've said it before that people are disenchanted.
Okay.
A huge number of those who have registered voters have not collected their PVCs. There's no motivation to collect it anytime soon. Okay? Many of them that have collected have been voting since they had their PVCs. Their life has not changed. In fact, their lives have deteriorated. Okay? Some persons do not have any PVC. They don't intend to ever have. Those are dissidents. These are hardliners. They don't intend to have anything. Okay?
Hello, are you still there, Barrister?
Yes.
Okay.
Those
Yes.
ones have given up on the system a long time ago. So at the end of the day, what you have is just a handful of persons who, many of them went there because perhaps they don't want to go and check out how it will go, or maybe they have relatives that are contesting the elections, or the person is from their street or their. So that's why you have a very low turnout.
All right, so amongst other reasons why there were voter apathy is what had happened. Wike, the FCT minister, had declared curfew, right? And according to reports that we have, a lot of the voters actually live in Nasarawa, and most of them work in Abuja. So their voting stations had always, over the years, had always been in Abuja. So usually when there are council elections, there's no curfew. People travel around and go cast their votes. But Wike being Wike and knowing what he knows how to do, he has done that many times in River State. He exemplified it in Abuja, allowing for curfew, which restrained lots of people from coming in and casting their votes, and that's one amongst many reasons why the voter apathy was there. But Barrister, I'd love us to take a look at the dynamics of elections in Nigeria. In 2023, Abuja had about 6 PDP council chairmen, but when the elections happened in February 25th, Peter Obi took over Abuja. That's the Labour Party that had no council chairman, that had no representatives, both as in the upper and lower chambers of the National Assembly. Do we see a repeat of that? Because lots of people are mocking the ADC right now. Ireti Kingibe, senator representing her community, only allowed for 2 votes. They said it was her and the husband that voted. 2. The others were 3 from APC. So she lost actually in her station. So do you see a change or something else, a shift, a seismic shift in 2027 alongside what happened in 2023, that is? Are you there, Barrister? I think we're having issues here. So I would love that our technical team come and look at this, especially from TV, so we can get to see real time if our guest is here or not. So we can, of course, be part of the show. I'd love to believe we had a bit of a glitch there. Barrister, are you back?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So did you get the question? Sorry for the glitch there.
Yeah, so can you get the question again for me?
Yes. So the question is, do we see a shift, a change that might happen come 2027 in the order of what happened in 2023? The Labour Party had no representatives in Abuja, both council, the State House, and every other representation. But they took over Abuja, even the State House itself, in 2023. Do we see some type of that change making its way come 2027?
Well, you know that the Labour Party have been highly weakened by Peter Obi's exit.
Yeah.
Okay. So the party that is coming close now to this reality, it's like the ADC. The ADC is coming close to this reality because it appears to be the party that have gained strength, just like the LP did in the 2023 election. Okay, so definitely you are going to have other political parties at different levels. They will win elections at some levels in different states. Even in the FCT, you are going to see so many of that because one party cannot sweep the whole. Even though the APC have tried to turn Nigeria into a one-party state by its adventures and misadventures, but then what is important is that other parties still have their root. They still have their space, and they are still pushing forward to reclaim and sustain and expand whatever they already have. Okay, so it's just that at the state level, many governors pulled away. Okay, in different political parties to the APC that affected other political parties at the state level. Okay, but at local government, sub-state levels, and all that, even at national levels, the political parties are still on their feet.
Okay, we can hardly hear Barrister. But do you see or sense dwindling influence of Peter Obi at this point? Because the young man he was routing for with the ADC didn't win. So does that mean that it's possible that his influence has expired? Did you get that, Barrister? Okay, well, still a bit of a glitch there. I think we will get that going, and possibly when he comes back, we can see one or two about it.
You're actually saying something about Ireti, right?
Yeah, Ireti Kingibe.
Yeah, Kingibe. For the fact that she had to,
she had only 2 votes.
Like voluntary. She
had just two votes. They said it was she and the husband that actually voted.
Oh my God.
So she had only 2 votes.
But I'm actually thinking that what could have prompted her to do so?
To do what exactly?
Like to just, to urge her husband to vote along with her. Because I feel that she would have all the people that can,
Yeah, that's what they're saying. That the APC is actually mocking her, right? That she has no influence any longer. Right, that if someone like her, a senator, cannot get people, there were only 10 persons that voted in her polling station, just 10 people that voted, and amongst that 10, she had 2 votes. Yes. so people are asking, really, do we see an end to all of this and APC taking over? Because APC won her polling station. Yeah. Yes. So that is it. So
I don't really going to say an end to it because it's actually funny, but at the same time disturbing for
2 votes.
That
2 votes.
But she would have not done better by telling more people and those 10 people to tell more 10 people. And it goes like that. And who knows, she might have more people on her.
Well, maybe she wasn't okay with the person who was hoping to become the chairman of representing ADC because she has moved to the ADC. So it's possible that maybe the person that is holding the flag of ADC is not someone she's comfortable with. So maybe that's why, I'm just saying, maybe that's why she didn't maybe go all out to do the campaign for that person like Peter Obi had done for his own person, but the person still lost, and that was why I was asking Barrister if the influence of Peter Obi is expired. Is Barrister still here with us?
Yes.
Okay, yes. So, Barrister, did you get the question, really? I was asking and making reference. Ireti Kingibe, I was telling Kenny, she had only 2 votes in her polling station.
Yes.
Peter Obi
Yes.
campaigned for the ADC young man. The man didn't win. So do we see a collapse, a dwindling influence of these symbolic people?
Well, the issue about this thing is that politics in Nigeria has a lot to do with your capacity to be popular and to have a lot of money. A lot of money. If you cannot get vote organically, you must be ready to buy it. Buy INEC, buy everybody, pay for it. That is why when you get to power, you cannot perform. Because you have to recoup all the investments. You cannot, and largely, you cannot also do it alone. It takes a lot. Okay. So the Reti Kingibe issue and some other persons that they don't have the muscle, the financial muscle. That's one thing. Politics is very expensive and unsustainable. Okay. I have a client, I contested election, spent over 200 million and got 14 votes.
Wow.
200 million naira and got 14 votes. And sometimes some of these funds are funds that were contributed, loans are there. If politicians tell you what they do to raise funds for elections, you will be surprised. You will see the reason why when they lose, they don't want to lose, they go to court. Because what is at stake is so much. Election is sweet when you are winning. It's good when you are winning. But when you're on the losing side, it has crumbled a lot of families, broken a lot of relationships. You understand? So it's a very tough game. It's something that when you want to go into it, you have to because I know a little about what it takes to even become a local government chairman in Nigeria. You need all kinds of anointing. The one that the devil will offer, the one that people will offer, support, different kind of things. Sometimes you have to go to a shrine. When people are sleeping, that's when you are awake for meetings. Sometimes you've been meeting 6 hours, 7 hours, plotting, scheming, doing all kinds of things, including making serious sacrifices, contracting prayers, paying people to pray from different locations. There will be chain prayer going on. If you know how politicians believe in God, many of them believe in God more than the ordinary man on the street. Because power comes from above. They know that principle. So they look for every means possible to get power. Okay. Because it's not enough to be wealthy. You have to keep and sustain your wealth. And when you have wealth, you need power. So that's why a lot of people go into politics. Okay. To shuffle the power dynamics. So it takes a lot. You can't just come and that's why you see people getting 2 votes. It takes a lot to come alive politically. And your popularity is not enough. Your resources are not even also enough. Relationships matter a lot in politics. Building bridges and, mending fences and walls, negotiations and expansion. So many things come under the cloak of politics. But if you just want to be popular, you just want to be running, you don't want to win, you can just go and do anything. If you have money, spend it, just get it. But if you really want to do it, look at what happened during the primaries, the APC primaries, the last APC primaries that brought Tinubu, that produced Tinubu.
Yeah.
Why the likes of Akpabio and all that, and his cohorts, aspirants, were, paying delegates making sure that all their delegates have what it takes so that they get this. Bola Tinubu was buying off candidates. Candidates in the election was buying them off, and each person he bought, all the followers of that person came to him. So money for money, you will not stand him and all that. You understand? Look at what happened to Tunde Bakare. Tunde Bakare, they say is a man of God with anointing from heaven. He sent text messages to delegates. It was text messages that I sent to delegates. When each delegate is getting 20 million, 30, 40, you are sending text message. You send text message to a delegate that just got 40 million from an aspirant. And then you want the aspirant to abandon the person who gave him 40 million to vote you that sent text message. It doesn't work like that.
Yes, it's actually quite sad that we're saying this. It might sound funny, but this is not how it should work, and which is why we're asking for e-transmission. Possibly in the future we might do i-voting, you know, like it's done in other countries around the world. I made mention Estonia. Estonia did its first i-voting, not e-transmission now, i-voting, internet voting in 2005. Estonia. So you can see if countries like that can make that happen many decades, why not we equally do the same thing? And if possible, we're able to achieve e-transmission 100% and maybe i-voting, then the issue of this vote buy-in will be unnecessary, because with your phone, you can actually cast your vote like we do in other minute organizations. With your phone, there's a portal, there's a platform. You just go there, you see the candidates lined up there, and you vote. Maybe you use your BVN or your NIN to vote. It registers itself, you know, and all that, and then everything is collated, and everyone see. There won't be need for bribery, for corruption, for vote buying, and many other shenanigans.
It's going to be an easy, let me just call it like a transaction. It's going to be an easy transaction.
Yes, an easy transaction, yeah.
Right, and
we're going to get there eventually. We're going to get there eventually because civil society will have to force its way through. There are some innovations now already. Now you can print your voter's card yourself. I hope you know that. This act has enabled it. All they will do is to maybe put a barcode on the voter's card, something. But you don't need to wait for INEC to print the voter card and give to you. You can now go to their website. By the time they activate it, by this new act, you print it by yourself from anywhere you are, and then the chip that will authenticate it to the beavers will be there. So during accreditation, it will accept it like every other voter card, previous ones together with the new ones. And because part of the reason why a lot of persons don't have their voter card today is because when they go to their registration center, they are not able to find it. And then they direct them to here, they don't get it, they just forget about it. So you now have a lot of it in some locations. The persons who own those cards are not in that location. But if it's online, anybody can print from online like a photo card, like write to WIAC or JAM in those days, we print photo card. It will be easy for everybody to have theirs, or many persons to have theirs. And so we decentralize it. So we'll get there gradually, but the pace at which we are moving is very slow. And that's because we have very old people in government that are not supposed to be there in the first place. I've held this country down. And so by true revolution and some other kinds of change, we can face out these persons. And you can imagine a president that's an investor in power holding. And then he wants to give you light. So how are you going to get power supply? It's an investor in the power holding bundling. That's why it doesn't talk about electricity. So
quite sad, really, really quite sad. Let's just hope things will get better. Like in the words of Professor Lumumba, the Kenyan very influential person, he said that the day Nigeria would rise up the day Nigeria would get its acts together. And that is the day Africa will stand up and be proud. And Africans will be proud to call themselves Africans. Nigeria is the single most populated black nation in the world.
Yeah, we are the giant of Africa.
No, let's leave the giant first. let's just keep it. Let's keep it as the most populated black nation in the world. So by the time this most populated black nation in the world gets its acts together, then we will get to that point where Africans, once you have the dark melanin, you would be respected. And until then, let's just hope that things will get better, and maybe heavens will bless us with that leader that will take us to the promised land.
Just keep
We just hope so.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much, Barrister. We truly do appreciate your time, despite the little hitches we have here and there. And that's our time for today. We have to call it a wrap. Please do well to follow us. You can read up on everything we have talked about today when you visit us at enterprisetvnews.com. Equally, you can go right now on our social media page and subscribe, follow. Drop your comments there. That is at Enterprise TV 7, and we promise to reply to every question that you have or whatever inquiry, or equally engage with you when you visit us. I am Henry Igwebike.
And I'm Kehinde Bodun.
Have yourself a splendid weekday. God bless you.
God bless Nigeria.
Bye-bye.